Joe, it's been 2 months. I bet it feels like 2 weeks.
Feels more like 2 years, I'd say. Yeah, it's been a pretty busy start. I think I probably bring a lot of that onto myself, wanting to drive things forward as quickly as possible. But yeah, I have to sort of take things back and look at where we are and take, prioritise certain projects over others to help move forward.
You told us when you first came here how excited you were at the potential of the club. Is it what you expected?
I probably feel now that there's even more potential than I did originally. I think it's a number of factors. Firstly, the ownership, has to be the right ownership to enable it to reach its potential. And then obviously the stadium, the infrastructure, the fans, it's all there. And that's why I'm really excited and really enjoying being here and seeing where we can get to.
As you alluded to earlier, whenever you take on a new job, you've got so many things going on. So I guess one of your big challenges has been narrowing down your focus in your early time in the role. Can you just give us an insight into sort of the key areas that you've been looking into in more detail?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the initial thing is meeting the staff, getting to know the staff, understanding the capabilities that we have within the club. That's really key. And then from that point, understanding what sort of environment we need to be able to create for those staff to be able to thrive and to achieve what they're capable of achieving.
Yeah, I mean, what do you see as achievable from the staff that you have around you at the moment? Obviously, you've inherited a staff that managed to help the club get back into the EFL, and now I guess the club is in a process of trying to grow with the rapid development of the football side of things.
Yeah, obviously we're a League Two club, and we can't invest in hundreds of staff like you would find in Premier League clubs. So a lot of it is learning and training, and I've got to bring some of my years of experience to help those staff members. That I see as a very key part of my role, but absolutely the staff are all very capable. I think it's about setting the right strategy, and that's one of my key early starting points, is to help convert the vision of the owners into an operational and workable plan for the club to be able to achieve that vision. And so that involves a lot of the staff, it involves the targets and tasks that they're set, it involves the projects that we want to develop. So it's a huge piece, and obviously is the key to the starting point, but really, the first stages was kind of just getting a sense of everything, understanding who's in the building, but I'm very happy to say that we're in a good place, and I feel that we really can achieve a lot of things.
You mentioned our owners earlier, Chris and Alex, who obviously are revered by the supporters for everything that they've done for the club so far. You've worked with them or alongside them for a couple of months now. Just give us an insight into what they've been like with you and what you feel like you want to do for them in your role.
Yeah, I mean, they no understatement, they're brilliant. I think they've been absolutely fantastic for the club, and I think all fans would agree. The stability that they've brought is so essential these days in football, and that is something that will continue. Obviously, where the club has been prior to their purchase of the club, had a lot of difficult years. There's been a lot of up and downs, and I think that stability is key. And obviously, to keep continuing with that stability means that we need to be more dynamic in terms of our income driving and revenue generation, but also our cost controls. We need to be more proactive and stronger commercially, and that's what we'll do. And that's important to keep that stability, but then to give us a platform to grow and achieve what we want to achieve.
Understand a lot of your plans are in the early phases, and you're still very much getting to grips with the role, but give us a sense of what sort of commercial opportunities may be available to us which aren't necessarily currently being exploited. And I'd imagine also that with your experience and the clubs that you've worked for, we'll be looking at opportunities which League Two, League One, maybe even some Championship clubs wouldn't even be considering.
And that's absolutely it. I think there's really two layers to that type of that question. The first layer is obviously all the traditional income lines that any club will have. Your ticketing, your hospitality, your food and beverage. It's making sure we're optimising those. Certainly food and beverage is a really key one, as all the fans will understand. It's an older stadium. We just simply don't have the provision. So we've got to find solutions around that. I want this stadium, the match day experience in this stadium is so important. It's not just what happens on the pitch, what happens pre-match, the presentation. Obviously, the investment that's been made in the sound system is brilliant to creating that atmosphere, but we want to create that atmosphere pre and post game. And a lot of that revolves around the sort of drinking, the eating, people dwelling in the stadium chatting, and that's the environment we want to try and create. And obviously you do have a lot of challenges with the stadium that we have at the moment, but I believe there's solutions to everything, and we're already underway with a number of projects, and which I hope really change our matchday experience. So it's really going to be quite exciting.
Is it a balancing act for you at the minute, trying to prioritise the short-term things that need to happen, for example, improving the food and beverage provision on a match day, but also aware that there's a lot of potential for the club and medium to long-term projects also need to get off the ground early on as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, as I said, with those two layers, the second layer is all these out-of-the-box type solutions and projects, things that people might not necessarily consider. I mean, you've got the paddle courts, and that was a fantastic investment by the owners. You know, it's great income generation. So we're looking at a number of other projects that you might not normally see within a football club, and those need to start as soon as possible, because quite often they can take quite a long time to come to fruition. So starting them as soon as possible with that sort of future vision in mind of what that could represent in terms of income for the club. So there's a lot of projects, you know, like I said, is trying to optimise those traditional revenue lines, but also developing a lot of new ones that help really escalate our income model and take us to another level. I think one of the other key things is about reaching out to key stakeholders throughout the city. I think in the past those relationships have sort of fallen away, and I think we need to rebuild those again, become a bigger, stronger stakeholder in the city, have more of a say in what goes on, reach out, be more proactive with a lot of different partners in the city. So I've been meeting a lot of the council leaders, I've met universities, so that's been really exciting project for me to really build those relationships, and I think it's something that as a club we really need to get back to, becoming a bigger, stronger key asset in the city.
Your office door has been a revolving door almost since you arrived. You've had plenty of meetings, lots of different people coming in and out, but you also recently met with the Official Supporters Association, which I know will have been a top priority for you in your early weeks.
Absolutely, yeah. For me, having that relationship with the fan base is essential. You know, a lot of plans, you know, down the line of how we communicate, and it's very important that we have a streamlined process with that, and utilising the supporter groups. So obviously I've met the Supporters Association, I've met the Sports Club, and having those lines of communication there and a working relationship, and that's about streamlining, having a process in place to be able to take on board some of the key issues, prioritise them, and then work towards them, rather than having lots and lots and lots of different issues coming in from different areas. The more we can streamline, the more action we can take. So that's a really exciting, you know, opportunity for the club, and I think bringing in things like surveys, certainly when we're talking about some of the key issues, big issues that will affect the club, things like priority systems or ticket pricing, we want to get that feedback. We want to have a democratic process in place. So, you know, there will be a lot more engagement from that point of view, and I hope that with the supporters clubs they'll become a key conduit to making these, you know, improvements happen.
Lots going on, there'll be lots to come in the future. Fans will be interested to know how they're going to be kept informed of the work that you're doing. A fans forum is in the pipeline, isn't it? We'll be able to announce more details on that in due course, but sort of on a more regular basis, how do you plan on keeping fans informed of what you're up to?
Yeah, I think very much, like I said, the fans forum will be a key one, but obviously on a monthly basis we want to update people. Obviously I wanted to get my feet under the table before I had a sort of first kind of update, and to sort of get some of these projects brought to fruition, so that I can talk about them. Some of them are sort of in planning process at the moment, so I don't want to say too much, but we will have a lot of exciting things to come, and you know, when we do, we'll start talking about those, and hopefully as well with the sort of fan surveys that I want to start having, fans will start to be able to have their say on various items. So yeah, well, keeping that dialogue is key, but making sure that we're managing, you know, meeting expectations of fans. You know, we're a small team, we can't do everything at once. It's about prioritising and working through those items properly and with due process, and that's what we plan to do.
you'll be at Gillingham tomorrow, 5,000th Football League match. What a fantastic milestone. But I also wonder if a milestone like that can also focus minds on the future as well. And obviously being the world's oldest professional football club, it sounds to me very much under your leadership like we're going to be trying to do things in a very modern and forward-thinking contemporary way.
Absolutely. I mean, what a milestone it is. I mean, it's incredible, and probably would have been the first in the country to achieve it had we not dropped out of the league. So, yeah, really exciting, and a great achievement for the club. But absolutely, as you say, you know, I think one of the beauties of where the club is moving in terms of its brand is very much, yes, we are the oldest league club in the world, but it's about, we shouldn't rest on that. You know, obviously we were a pioneer back then. We want to continue to be a pioneer, and through the leadership of Alex and Chris and what they're doing on the football side is very pioneering. And I think as a club, that's where we want to go. We want to be innovative. We want to be thought leaders. So as well as being the oldest, we want to be one of the most forward thinking, and it's a great place to be.